So then, so that's good. So now you're ahead of the game because you already pasted in. That's great. You got test 1, 2, 3, 4 in there already? Cool. So did you cut them out of T1, T2, T3, and 4?
No.
How did you get all those in all times? From where? Oh, I see. Okay. That makes sense. Good. Okay. I see. It's okay, just grab that and drag it all the way to the top of the puzzle. Nope, not that. Thick in the middle. Yep, just right there. Just drag it. All the way up. Just quick and zip it up. Yep. Zip it up. Good. Not fast. Yeah. You got it. You good? Sure. Is that sucker right on down there?
No.
Good job. Just hit the same button. Bang. Perfect. Okay. So everything's on track. Let's take a look at our instructions and see what it says. Rectangle word. You just finished step 6. In yellow. Did you just do that? You just saved the file, right? Okay. So what's next after that? Yes. It's exactly what you do. So do exactly what step 1 says. So just do that. Follow the steps of the instructions. And let me know if you get stuck or you get lost. Okey-doke. So working out okay, Nicole? How's it going, guys? Good? Okay. So you guys able to get 10 of your own and then 10 of somebody else's? How far are you? 8 of yours or 8 of somebody else's?
We split the
8 of your groups.
three or something else.
Okay, so you're 10 from your group or no?
Yeah.
And 3
Yeah.
somebody else's. So where do you get 8? Is that 13?
5 plus 3.
5.
I will have to give you 5. Or is this 10?
So you're a group together with 10.
Yeah.
So that's one group.
Yeah.
So you should be your group, that's 10. And you somebody else is 10.
5. 5 of them.
So that's
Okay, we should start from someone. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me know when you guys are wrapped up with the 10 of your own and 10 of somebody else's, and then I'll show you guys how to make some graphs and some tests out of it, and then that'll wrap us up for today when everybody's done with that, once we figure out how to plot that data and visualize it, assess it, and then we will pick up from that next class.
If you want to do the last one. So we'll catch up with that one.
Thanks.
Yeah.
How do you save? How are you telling to save them? Like, do you save them as one separate spreadsheets? Can you send me the ones you've done? So just send me the second back because I don't know the form. So and I'll send you the 76.
And if you want, I have, I think, 4 done
This
from
column,
another group.
this column is
So I'll continue those, and I'll send you those too.
okay. Hopefully, because I've really,
Yeah.
yes, you have a very, you have a
Do you
very
mind?
good,
Or you just use
I think if you tell people that
I
right
don't know,
now,
I'll get it right now.
so
I just
I'm
didn't
gonna-
want people to have 2 sets of 27 and not realize the final name has changed.
that's also why I'm having a review these two results into the group file under the computer as well as under the online version, so that in case somebody else has them, so when you do your subjects, it won't be the same. Right now, I don't even want to draw attention to this column because we never use it and it's irrelevant.
I know, but mine, just looking at my numbers, I would see that at the end and save it as that
Yeah.
number. But
Well, yep, that's exactly why I said do it at the end, so that they see what's on the
I
line.
just wanted to make sure people, I don't know.
That is very astute. There we go. How's it working, Bob? Okay, let's see.
So you're working on some of those? Okay.
Just grab the letter A up there. Yep, just highlight that and go out to P. Done. Copy. Go over there. Yep. Scroll all the way to the left. Scroll here, all the way to the left. Left. All the way. Paste in the spot that says paste in here. There. Basically done. Now what we gotta do is a few other steps. Okay. So scroll over to the right. Down. Okay. That's good. Correct. Start. EZ6. Start with our white cell. EZ6. Number 6. Just highlight that and drag it all the way to the end. Just hold the button down and drag it all the way to the end. It's going to go pretty far, so just keep going. Go fast. Just all the way to NH. Just keep going. Keep going.
I see you.
That's,
Just keep going.
So
You can see when it
I'm
ends.
on track.
So just keep going.
But
NH. Good. Copy. And then go to the This is online, right over it. Just open that. Now what subject is that? 11? Okay. So just go to section 11, go to that cell, highlight it. Right click. Paste special values. Now you put your data into our hosted file. That's it. Does that sound pretty good? Reasonable? Okay, good job. That's what you do. The other 9 subjects that you collect. Okay. Let me know when you're done, because then we'll get the rest of the class started up and catch up for you.
No, you were each subject matter of one. Yeah, it saves, right? Double C, see if I can check. Did you put it down in here? Scroll all the way up. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
how many people are done with their total of 20? That's a lot, right? How many people are done with their 10? Okay, awesome. Let's take a break from 10. Okay. You can aim for the 20 as sort of homework, and ultimately we'll aim for 30 for your set of a data set. Sound good? How many of you guys feel like you need me at home to help you with this as homework? Nobody, right? Everybody feel like you're good? You got this? Okay. So if we say, take care of 10 or 20 subjects at home at some point, when you need to work on it, everybody feels like you got it down pretty good? Okay, cool. So that's a good thing. Let's see here. So let me show you some things you can do. Okay? So, wow, we've had a lot of people paste data in. That's fantastic. And let's see here. What we can do is I'm going to take our file, download that, and let's see here. It should be coming up on the screen here in just a second. Okay, there we go. So what I did, for any of you guys who's interested, okay, is I took our group online file that everybody has pasted their data in, okay, and I just right-clicked on it and I downloaded that, and now I can work with that locally on my computer. And I'm just going to show you how we can do some very simple things. Okay. So, when we do that, we basically get this file. So remember that when we have a file that looks like this, right, this is kind of our title up here of all of our different conditions. Okay. We have our subject numbers that go down. It goes down to about 100. Okay. If you have any notes in the side, this is a good place to put notes of a particular subject. Ryan, can you think of something that you might put a note about on a subject that other people might need to know about to properly analyze the data as a group?
Yeah.
Like what?
Some of my subjects do not follow instructions.
Like what kind of instructions?
Like utilizing the entire 1 through 5 scale.
Scale, or even thinking about memory at all. One of Ryan's subjects had hit 5 the entire time for both old and new items. To just zip through the experiment. And so the data is not very useful. So that's a really good thing for subject. Let's say that was subject 4, for example. You would write that in the notes and say subject or exclude subject, not usable data or something like that. That way you can help to sort that data later. You know what I'm saying? So anything like that you want to include notes on. Okay? So, and this goes all the way out here. So the way that this works, I'll orient you to this a little bit. Okay? Is we have a lot of data here about basically through rows, or excuse me, through columns BH all the way over here. This is mostly about your item memory accuracy. Sometimes your source memory accuracy, but that's basically about the people's, how many times did they press the source memory response in a certain condition. Now once you start in column BJ, all right, as you start moving this way, now as you can see in BJ3, okay, that's reaction times. So now everything in these columns, all these numbers represent the speed of how fast they responded, okay? And so that's just a little orientation to what we have, okay? So let's see here. I will try to organize this a little bit. Centered. Okay, now one thing, zoom out a little bit, and let's say, so we have all this data down here and everything, right? And let's say we want to know the average of, let's say, these reaction times, right? or something to that effect. Now some people, you're going to see that there's this kind of data that says number div /0 exclamation point. It's basically Excel going bleh and saying this is an error message, we can't calculate this, because in some of those situations the formulas that it's trying to draw from are zeroed out or don't work as formulas because it's drawing from cells that require there be trials across the various conditions. And let's say you had a subject who didn't answer 4. You're not going to have data there to do a calculation of a formula, and so you're asking it to calculate something where it's like it doesn't have the tools it needs to calculate. So it's going to give you some errors like this. So at this level of game, I'll just delete those and leave those as zeros. So let's say as you move through here, okay, clear those out, okay, and what we'll be able to do is see sort of how a couple things are going to work. Okay, wonderful. So,
Are you gonna, do you mind putting down
huh?
do you mind putting down the,
Well, I'd like to be able to draw on the board to show you where I'm at, but we can turn the lights off. Celine, do you mind hitting the lights off?
Oh no, it was only, well, that's fine. It's just because when I rewatch it, it's like really hard to see anything. But it's still not.
Okay. Well, when you rewatch it, you should be able to work on the screen of your computer with the same sheet and listen to what I'm saying and work through the sheet that you can see in much better resolution on your own laptop screen. Because you have access to this file. So when you're watching this video and you want to know, and I say you're in BL or BM 88, you can go to that cell and see exactly the details of what it is. Okay? And so let's say that these are our data for hits and false alarms. Okay? Now let's say that we also have data for, and this is your reaction times, right? Okay, now if we scroll all the way to the left, it will remind you what our cells are. Okay, and one thing you can do as a little trick, okay, let's say that we care about those cells there, you can highlight all of these, and if you right click, you can go hide. So when you hide those, everything between here and here gets hidden. And so now it tells you, all right, these are our reaction times, okay, for hits, false alarms, and this is your average, your mean, your standard deviation, and your standard error. Because I've already calculated that for you. All right, I went to a lot of work doing all these calculations for you. Because nobody probably wants to go home and spend their time calculating a standard error of the mean, right? So this is one of the nifty things that I wanted to show you guys. When you do your experiments outside of class and outside of here, wherever you go later in life, you can use this strategy to build your analysis spreadsheets to be embedded with its own calculations, or with its own calculator, that all you have to do is paste in the data and it automatically does it for you, if you plan it out right? So, Nicole, you want to go into business, right? You're gonna do something in the business world, you told me, after graduation, right? Maybe you need to keep a spreadsheet on your company's expenses, or your expense account for the gas card, or the company car or something, right? Every month, you know you're going to have all these bills come in, and you can create a little formula down here that every month just gives you the average, the mean, the standard deviation, and you can find out if your dad's spending more gas than your brother is.
We do that. Everything's on Excel.
Exactly.
Everything, the payroll, all of it.
Yeah, and so if you, and you can use a template approach like this so that you don't have to recalculate it every month. You just paste the data in and it does it for you already. Okay? So we have the mean, the standard deviation, and the standard error. And what we can do now, because this is all, and remember, we have, you can also hide your rows here. Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have that hidden. Let's see what else we can hide. these rows and we'll hide these. Okay, so, and again, let's just say that, because this is, I know today this is a lot of complicated stuff. We have a bunch of conditions here. I'm just going to hide all these so it's not so overwhelming. So all we have here is just a couple columns. Okay? And like I said, you have to delete these little error messages in the places where there's no data. And if you do that, so I should say, see how down here, these are just error messages? It's because it's asked to calculate the data in the cells above it that also have error messages. So, okay, maybe this is easier to see. See how this is just meant to be the average of all this? Okay, you're going to get this message here because it's cast a pull from numbers that are also empty. So when we get rid of those and just leave them blank, then the calculator will also be able to work with the blank numbers. So I'm just giving you an example today, and we won't have to do this normally, but for the purposes of teaching today, this is what we'll work with. And I'll get rid of these little things. Okay, so look at what we got now. So now, when I got rid of those, see how now there's actual numbers here? Yeah? It's pretty useful, right? Okay. So, let me zoom out a little bit and see what I'm talking about. Okay, so we had all this data in here. And so we basically have a total of